Right, so welcome everybody to our afternoon session on embracing diversity for greater inclusion. Today we are very happy, very honored to have Peg as our host and facilitator for the afternoon. I'll let Peg to do her own self-introduction in a minute, and all I can say is Peg is a trilingual person. She knows 3 languages, right? And has been working in China from, she's a native in Malaysia, has been working in China, has been working with a state-owned company in China, being the only senior manager that is an expat in that company, etc. So she has a lot of first-hand experience working in different cultures and have a lot of experience in how to include different types of diversity in a company and making the diversity into some kind of synergy, right? We want diversity, but we would like the diversity to work for the company rather than we want it to be productive, right? So without further ado, I'll just hand it over to Peg, and Peg, take it away.
Thank you, CJ. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the sessions of Embracing Diversity for Greater Inclusions. My name is Pekian, or you can call me Pekian. Is my surname, and I'm very honored here today to share with you my experience and also some of my thoughts on diversity and inclusion, of equity, equality, and belongings. That we have a lot of terms right now globally. So whichever that we are talking about, it will be under the big umbrella of diversity, inclusion, and equity. So thank you for your attention. So in the next 90 minutes, we are going to explore about the trend. Why do we need diversity inclusions? And also, what is the status right now of diversity inclusions in China? And also, how are we going to address the diversity inclusions in Asia Pacific? So a little bit of myself. So my name is Pekian. Professionally, I'm a trilingual leadership coach, facilitator, and trainer with over 20 years of management experience in Malaysia, Hong Kong, as well as mainland China. So before, as CJ mentioned just now, before I was a full-time coach, trainer, I was working with a Chinese state-owned company back in 2006, and I was the only expatriate helping the company listing in Hong Kong and US. If I mentioned that China Mobile, I'm sure most of you would know that. And I was in state-owned for close to 10 years. And after that, I joined MNC. So experienced different type of culture, really. And that helped me to shape who I am today. I'm also the Master Certified in Cultural Orientations Framework. So I co-facilitate with Professor Philip Rosinski, who developed the Cultural Orientations Framework assessment, which is the very core assessment that we use to measure diversity and inclusion, right? So we are going to share with you today on this Cultural Orientations Framework, what we call it COF. And year 2020, I had a chance to meet a group of Europe and US authors to contribute to the book called Positive Psychology Coaching in the Workplace. So my role is really representing Asia to share the Asia culture in terms of positive psychology coaching in the workplace. So you can find this book right now in Amazon. And these are some of the workshops that I've done last year and the year before, some of the onlines. These are some related to culture, diversity and inclusion, leading global teams, and also women's leadership, women mentoring, coaching as well, diversity coaching. And this one is with Vivo, where I help them in integrating the culture between the Chinese and also the Indian culture. That was done here in 2019 in New Delhi, India, right before the COVID December. Employees engagement and some of the leadership program as well, using Lego Serious Play, where I'm certified in this tool as well. And some of the soft skills training like time and management training stress management, influencing without authority, and corporate culture innovations. So you will see quite a diverse portfolio there. Personally, I come from this place. Does anyone know where's this place? CJ, no. I'm not surprised, CJ.
I've been there.
You've been there, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, great, great. Yeah, so this is my hometown. It's called Kuching in Malay. Chinese, it's Mao Cheng. Yeah? So it's in Malaysia, East Malaysia on the Borneo Island. So on that Borneo Island, we have basically 3 countries, Brunei, Malaysia, and also Indonesia. And my intercultural background, this is my mother's side, my grandfather, they lived in the longhouse. So we have a longhouse where we lived with over 50 families, and each family has our own living room. So that's that. And in the city, Kuching itself, this are my brothers, sisters, my niece and nephew. In Malaysia, this is considered to be a very, very small family already. Yeah. So I have friends that has cousins and nephews from mother side, brother side, mother side and father sides, add up to almost 100. So that's really a big family. And my little cousin here, he likes to enjoy the sun bath in Malaysia with hot sun. And right during the COVID 2020, I was caught in Malaysia. So another side of me, it's cooking. So that's one of my hobbies as well. I love to collect Lego, and I use Lego in workshop. As I mentioned, I'm a Lego Serious Play facilitator as well. So because of now online, so I don't do so much of the Lego workshop, right?
Right. Just to interject, I think Winnie asked, why is Maocheng called City of Cat, or why is Kuching called City of Cat? Is that the language?
Thank you, Winnie. Thank you so much for the questions. Yes, the history was in 1876, if I'm not mistaken. During that year, we had the Malaysia was the colonial of UK, British. Yeah. So there's this king that he was having his breakfast in Kuching at that time in that city. So there are a lot of cats running across when he was having his breakfast. So then he named this place as Kuching Mountain. In Malay, it's called Kuching without the H. Yeah, that's CJ put it there already. Thank you so much, CJ. And then we just add a H to differentiate it from the real cat. That's the Malay word. Yeah, that's how it called mountain. Yeah, thank you so much, Winnie. Thank you. All right, so before I go into the poll questions, I'd like to invite everyone to share with me what brings you to this session today, right? What brings you to this session today? I'd like to invite you to input your answer into the chat box.
Please feel free to type in. If you don't want to type, you can unmute and say it. If you prefer typing, please type. 喜欢码字的可以码字，要解开静音的可以解开静音。If you need translation, I will be able to translate for you at 10 RMB in a minute.
Wow. That's a smart way of making money. I love it. Kelly say, learn good DEI practices in organizations. Great. There's an important initiative in our company globally, Winnie. All right. Good to know that. How about the rest? What brings you to this session? Li Qing, just curious on the DEI. Okay. Oh, Ma Tao is leading ID and E in China. You see, we have very different sequence in terms of the I and E and D. Right. Soon we started DEI program globally last year, and we found lots of things we can do, but need to learn more also how to dig into organizations, where we go and what we can do more. Awesome, awesome. We're implementing Yvonne, also implementing DI. Yannick, curious about diversity and change management. All right, cool. Wei, B and I is our group focus this year. Just want to learn, good experience and practice. All right, Alicia, now we open our creative center. Oh, you have a diverse group. Awesome, good to know. Victoria, I'm doing a master's at King's College London in global cultures. Is one of the modules is D&I. Awesome, awesome, great. Wow, sounds like everyone has a mission here today to get out from this session. Good. All right. So let's, CJ, would you mind help me to launch the poll questions here so that everyone can answer? So which one of the following characteristics would you consider as diversity? Race, gender, modes of thinking, time management, communications and communication preferences, sense of power and responsibility, work experience, or all of the above? CJ, are you launching the poll? Oh, or do I launch it here myself? Ah, okay.
Sorry, the my computer was hanging for a while, so.
No worries. So I think I just launched it.
I think I just launched
onto the screen. Yes. Oh, we have people all tap into the chat box already. Okay, no problem. Right. So we have everyone. Oh, almost everyone says, "Oh, awesome, awesome."
Well, it's a 多选题, so you can choose more than one. And of course, if you're really lazy like me, I'll choose all of the above. This is the lazy choice. But otherwise, you can choose multiple choices.
Yeah, I'm gonna give 10 more seconds, and then I'll close the poll here. Oh, I saw David annotate on the screen. Awesome. Thank you, David. That's a very smart way of doing that. All right, let me close this poll and show you the result. Okay.
Wow,
so
everybody answered, 100% answered.
Yeah, 76% answered that it's all of the above. Excellent, excellent. Yes, when we talk about diversity, it is everything that's we listed here. And it's more than what we have listed. And we're going to explore that very quickly in a short while. So what we're talking about here, it's not only race, gender, sexual orientation, but more also on the connective thinking, the different preferences, and also the sense of power and responsibility. So what does that mean? We're going to explore that. All right. Okay. So let me just clear the screen here. So my next question to you is, oops, sorry. All right. So my next question here is, what is the biggest challenge for you right now in addressing D&I within your organizations? I understand most of you, I would say 90% just now from the chat, that we see you all are driving D&I initiatives somewhere, somehow, to a certain extent. So what is the biggest challenge for you right now involving in the D&I initiatives, driving the D&I? You can input into the chat box.
We got Sunha already. Age, gender, women in leadership. It's going to be 三八妇女节 soon. Sorry, my apologies.
Great, okay. Winnie bias. Winnie, would you want to share a little bit, what do you mean by bias here? The bias from what, or what kind of bias?
Yeah, so unconscious bias from everyone or every normal people to recognize the difference, to recognize a different race, a different sexual orientation, a different work of style, that makes it challenging and difficult for them to think that different people coming from different backgrounds have the same rights, should be treated equally, have the same value of their values. So that's what I think.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, unconscious bias is one of the very, very key challenges for many organizations that in driving their D&I initiative. Thank you for bringing that up, Yanni. Sarah, business leader cannot see the value of D&I. Yes, absolutely agree with this. Just last week, I had a chance to talk to one of the US global companies they wanted to start their D&I initiative in Asia. Somehow they cannot get the commitment from the top senior management. So that will need a lot of education to create the awareness, that's for sure. Thank you for bringing that up, Sarah. Let me see. From Daniel, codification of diversity into applicable framework for implementation. Absolutely, yeah. How do we sustain the change of behavior into our day-to-day work? Nisa, how to raise awareness to leaders when rolled out? Sounds like leaders need to attend this session or attend our entire D&I program. Thank you, Nisa. Irene, what we talk and what we do is different. Thank you for that. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Lynching, how to define the D&I correctly, how to move to action. Kevin, people has inadequate awareness of DEI and the topic is initiated by, North America, while they focus more on gender. Absolutely, yep. So when we talk about diversity and inclusion in Asia Pacific, it could be in a very different context, all right? So which one of the diversity will focus more on? It will be, for example, the generation gap, edge, and also like the communications preferences, there are differences, mode of thinking, view of time management, etc. These are the things that are more focusing on in Asia Pacific rather than the racial issue. Okay, Alicia, handling communication style differences, expecting between cultures. Kelly, we want to start in raising awareness and DI, but don't know specifically start from whom and which topic we want. We don't want it to become vague topic, KPI hiring, female leaders and something. All right, thank you, Kelly. Yes, that is the very common challenge as well.
Yeah, and just to add on to Kelly's point, I think there are companies who say they want to have some numbers, some metrics to show D&I, and they just say that, last year 43% of our workers are women, or our color workers are women. This year is 45%. Yes, we got D&I. So, yes, that it could be turn out to be very superficial sometimes.
Yes, absolutely right, CJ. Thank you for bringing that up. Yes. All right. So today I'm going to show you or share with you tips of the iceberg of what I have done for diversity and inclusion. I love your challenges and I love your questions, but in this 90 minutes or the remaining 70 minutes right now, I might not be able to cover and answer or addressing all your challenges. But I would suggest, if it's okay with CJ as well and everyone, I would like to suggest to make these sessions more interactive. What I have prepared, it's more on the how we use the cultural orientations framework in addressing the diversity and inclusion issue, right? So if you have other questions that or challenges that you would like to bring up and ask me, please feel free to do so that it would be more interactive and more tailored, more suited to your needs today. Okay, so this is just a nutshell of what we have right now for an integrated diversity, equity, and inclusions program in Asia Pacific. So we always start with the building awareness, which is the foundation of all the subsequent culture change journey, right? So here we have the pre-program, then the program phase, we focus on individual leadership and teams level. I'm not going into detail on this. If you have any question, you just feel free to ask, all right? And then post-program phase. So the first phase, building awareness here, will very much focus on what we call knowledge workshops, all right? Knowledge workshops. Some companies made it mandatory for all the employees, including leaders, to attend, for example, the unconscious bias training, the definitions of diversity and inclusion. What does it mean to us? Every company defined it some sort of with their own D&I statement. So that would serve as the foundation. Everyone will need to know that, right? So that would be the what we call the first stage. Then the second stage will go deeper to dig into what are the beauty of diversity, right? What can I appreciate from the diversity here, right? And how diverse we are as a group in these organizations, right? So these are the second layer. And some organizations also make it mandatory for the diversity champion, right? I'm not sure whether your organization has diversity champion, or sometimes we call it diversity and inclusions ambassador or ally, okay? That can help you to drive the D&I initiative in your organizations. So that would be the second stage. And the third stage here in the program, also, it's focusing on bringing or building the diversity champion or ambassador become the internal trainer. All right, that means we can certify, and then you become your own internal trainer instead of rely on external. So the key purpose is to make sure you yourself, your organizations, you have the capability to do it your own, because you cannot rely on us all the time to handhold you in this long-term journey, because D&I will not happen. It's just one training. It at least take a year and above, all right? So that would be on the building awareness, getting everyone, leadership, all employees, people managers, senior management, board members, etc. Right? So once you have the building awareness, the second part comes in here, sustaining the change. This is the most quite common question asked by organizations. We have done that, what we call inclusive training. We have done unconscious bias training. We have already teach our people how to speak up, but how do we make sure them able to live up with this D&I values? How do I make sure that my people behave an inclusive way, right? So this will have to do with the culture of your organization. So in this part, it's called the 3-month rolling plan. So it takes at least a year to change the culture into a more inclusive culture, right? So this is blending in the values of D&I into your culture so that everyone lives up to the value of the diversity and inclusion. So it involves not only the training that you already have, but also changing the policy, aligning the values, aligning the systems, like what CJ mentioned. You need to have metrics. You need to not only have the what we call the leading metrics, but also we need to have lagging metrics that you can control and has the variable to really create an impact on the behavior of the people, right? So it's a long-term journey for diversity and inclusion. Any questions at this moment? You feel free to put it into the chat box, all right? So today, I'm going to tell you or share with you why and what diversity, equity, and inclusion, the common definitions that we use for organization, and the science behind differences, all right? The science behind differences, the attitude that how we respond when we meet differences. and then the how, using the cultural orientations framework to create the real inclusion. Right. So this is the some of the business case from McKinsey here. So a lot of organizations now worldwide, we have seen driving the diversity and inclusion initiative from US, from UK, from Europe, Germans, France, everywhere else, right? Why are they doing that? Of course, there are some social issue, right? We've seen like Black Lives Matter, but also from a business point of view, it does help to bring profits, right? Better performance results. And we see that from that McKinsey report, gender diverse companies perform 21% better than national average companies, right? And ethnically and racially diverse companies has 43% higher profits. It is quite an interesting and attractive figure for a lot of organizations. And companies in US and Europe, they are also have to comply with the listing requirement, compliance. If you're a listed company, you need to disclose your diversity and inclusion metrics in your annual report. So that's why a lot of organizations are willing to spend money to do the D&I initiatives. So what is diversity? I'd like to put up these questions to everyone. What is diversity? You can input into the chat box. What is diversity means to you?
Yeah, this is very interesting because actually different people has got a very different understanding of what is diversity.
Absolutely, yes, yes. And we always say when we talk about something new, we need to start with the definition, yeah, so that we are on the same page. So what is diversity? Anyone, you can input into the chat box.
What is 多元化? So I'll waive the translation fee if you want to.
Come on. Kevin, we are all different in every aspect. Excellent.
Okay, so
Excellent.
which aspects matter at work? So obviously, everybody is different. So in a work scenario, so what does diversity mean? And which parts matters? Okay, different attribute, different characteristics. Thank you, Mato. Race, nationality, age, gender, quality of state being different in any aspect of human traits or tendencies. Wow.
Not alike in thought process, being able to be challenged. Excellent, excellent. So now accept, adapt, and tolerate. Excellent. Li Qing, people are only part of the role. Derek, different in one and easy to adaptation. Thank you, Derek. Yeah, you see, out of how many of us here today? 36. We already have quite a different way of interpreting diversity, right? Using different, our own perspective, our words, right? Interpreting it. So what I'm going to share with you here, diversity to us, it's simply a reality, right? It's a fact, right? It's a fact that it means different, all right? And why it says it's a fact, it's a reality, because we cannot say it doesn't exist. We cannot say difference, there is no different, right? The most common thing that we hear from people around us, you know, I have friends that are here. I know we come from, I come from Malaysia, and you come from Singapore, and you from China. Oh, we're all Chinese. After all, we're all still the same. We're still the same. Yeah. So that is the very dangerous of minimization. That is a very dangerous minimization. You see the differences, but you tend to ignore it, and you tend to, what we call it, enlarge similarity. That's the danger. We expect everyone to be the same. right? So diversity simply means difference, right? It's a reality. We cannot say it doesn't exist. What is inclusion? What is inclusion, my friends? Please input into the chat box.
是包容又是什么呢 ？Inclusion.
Thank you so much, CJ, for that translation. I like the interaction here.
Okay, respect and value from our town. Fantastic.
Awesome.
David, you raised a very, very good question. Yeah. So why? We'll come to that later. We'll throw it to everybody. I think just now we have a few people saying that, yeah, we are doing this in a company. So we may want to find out now from more people why DNY suddenly became a hot topic. So acceptance from winning, leads in respect and accept. So I think, respect and value, respect and accept. Tolerance, respect comes up like everywhere. 海纳百川, right? Great. Embrace difference, yep. 求同存异, embrace difference, that's the same. Consider and support those out of scope. Okay. Well, wait, can you elaborate a little bit? How do you mean by out of scope? Are you referring to 做出出格的事情 or what?
We?
Everybody's voice should be heard. Yeah, Lisa, thank you. We could be typing. So.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So thank you so much. So again, we're seeing that inclusions, all of us has our different set of definition for inclusion.
Right. It's interesting where we just typed in hire those out of the labor market.
Oh.
So the non-traditional sources of labor. And very interesting, just digress just 2 minutes. Normally since we're talking about labor market, when we say we want to hire a receptionist, most of the time when I say hire a receptionist in the hiring workshop, people will assume immediately that receptionist is going to sweet young lady. Right? It doesn't matter who's in the room. It can guys, ladies, older people, younger people, whatever industry. Most of the time, we have this image of a receptionist is going to sweet young lady, right? And why is that? And most of the reason given is that will be the face of the company. Right? Never mind if that company is an industrial company that's located in a very far-flung place and the face of a company is an industrial area. The image is still a sweet young lady. Right? So I don't know whether that fits into what we say. No, not the usual labor pool, because I have seen very good secretaries who are a lady in her late 40s, early 50s. She has worked in other departments before, but in order to take care of her family, she works as a recept, so that she comes early in the morning, comes earlier than everybody, and leaves earlier than everybody so that she can actually take care of her family. Yes. Thank you, Wei, for that for that example.
Thank you, Wei, and thank you, CJ. And that reminds me, have we ever seen a male receptionist? That would be a question for us to think about.